There we go. We're already off to a great start, Vida.
Yeah.
Hit record. That's
ready.
That's a huge improvement from last week. Yes. So, thank you for being here. Today is July 14th, 2021, and we are going to talk a little bit about change and transition. This is something that as human beings we face often throughout and during our life. We have Alex MacDonald, who's going to join us through audio, not video, but we've got Al standing by, and we're going to show a YouTube video of Al's where he's sketching a portrait of anime, and it's just beautiful. So, and then we'll do our loving kindness meditation and wish everybody well, and we'll be done. Yes. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to do our diversity welcome. I'm just going to grab it here. So first, I would like to welcome all women, men, transgender, and other identified individuals here today. I'd like to welcome everyone here who is a mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, cousin, son, daughter, grandmother, or grandfather. Welcome. I welcome people of all races, tribes, and descents. I welcome your bodies, your mind, and your energy. I welcome survivors and those who support them. I welcome all people single, married, partnered, dating, celibate, or involved in whatever sort of relationship is right for you. I welcome gay, lesbian, bisexual, heterosexual, queer, asexual, two-spirited, and others for whom none of the current labels fit. I welcome your emotions, your joy, your bliss, your rage, your hope, your frustration, sadness, and disappointment. I welcome everyone's special way of understanding and knowing the world. Everyone's wisdom, whether it is education that has been learned in schools, colleges, universities, and or the deep and profound school of life. I welcome those living with chronic medical conditions and disabilities, visible and invisible. I welcome mystics, seekers, and believers of all kinds. And I welcome people who identify as activists, community leaders, musicians, artists, group members, and those who don't. And finally, I'd like to welcome the ancestors who lived in this land where we are now. Welcome the spirits of Mi'kmaq, the natives who lived in this area before the Europeans came. I'd like to acknowledge them and invite their spirits to this space. Everyone, welcome. Thank you. So I am Margaret Major. I am a registered counseling therapist here at the After Trauma Empowerment Network in Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. I am joined with Vida Woodworth, who is chairperson and co-host at A10, and Kate Matthews is also here with me, and she's our technical director. She keeps things running smoothly and reminds me to press record when I don't. So Vida, let's do a check-in with you. How are you doing on this lovely Wednesday?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Yeah, I was very cranky earlier in the day, but I'm not cranky at the moment, so that's good. I can't think of anything exciting that I could share other than I am the new parent to two puppies. And surprisingly, they haven't been keeping me awake. They're quite lovely, and when it's bedtime, they go to sleep and they don't wake me up too early. Oh. So we're all getting to know each other. My older two dogs are being very patient with them, and actually this morning, one of my dogs spent almost 2 hours playing with them, which was very nice to see. And yeah, so far all is well. And I'm not regretting getting two instead of one, because they do keep each other company too. So that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I haven't been golfing this week, but
No, no golf.
that's okay. Yeah, no, I been busy doing some other things, mowing lawns
Yes.
and puppies. So not mowing puppies, but looking after puppies. So
Yeah.
and yeah, just taking it easy. Otherwise, yeah.
Yes, those puppies are precious. I got to see them Monday, and they're
Yes.
just, oh, they're so cute, little adorable balls of fur.
Yes, yes. So maybe one of these Wednesdays I'll bring them and they can be our guests for the week.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 So, how was your week?
Well, this is vacation week, so that's why I'm wearing my vacation hat with my dragonfly on there. I love it. So this is my vacation hat. It's been an easy week. I've quite enjoyed having some time just to go out and pluck weeds for an hour or two, or have a nap in the afternoon. Just take care of a lot of those little to-dos, because we all have a to-do list that builds and builds and builds. And so checking some of those things off. And then we're heading to Cape Breton on Friday for a couple of days, and then back to our regular work week on Monday.
That
So,
sounds
yeah,
very lovely.
but haven't done anything big and extravagant by any means. But yesterday I went to the Brookfield Bakery, and I seen there was these cutting boards there, and I don't know the artist's name who made these cutting boards. I didn't grab one of the business cards that were there, but they're gorgeous. These are incredible cutting boards, and I never thought I be
I saw
excited about
them.
cutting boards, but
Yeah.
they're made of all different types of wood, and the coloring are beautiful. I should have brought one
Yeah.
with me. No picture.
One is a fiddle and the other is a music note. I'm not sure
Or
which
a
note.
leaf, maybe it might be a leaf,
Oh, it could be.
or maybe it could be
I don't
interpreted as a
know.
musical note.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't read music, so it could very well be a leaf.
We'll
We'll
decide.
look at them again, yes, and perhaps I'll revise what I thought it was.
Yeah, we'll decide.
Yes.
I do want to extend our thanks and gratitude to the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia for their support and funding for us to be able to do this project, Project MAAT, Music and Art After Trauma. Just every time we do a session, we're extremely grateful to them for their support and the work that they do in our province in, raising awareness about mental health and changing the way people think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could mention I do have a new T-shirt on this week, and
I know
we
can't quite see it all, but
yeah, it says "No More Stolen Sisters," and it's referring to the missing and murdered Indigenous women across our country. And I had ordered it a while ago, and I got it today, so I thought I'd wear it. And I guess the other thing, I've been kind of keeping track on each of our shows of the numbers of undocumented grave sites. And I think it was another 160 that were found yesterday or the day before. And so I think the numbers are over 1,000. I don't know the exact number, but and of course, sadly, there are many, many more sites to look at. And so by the looks of how it's going, it's probably going to be a much higher number when they're finished.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I have a couple of other new T-shirts that I'll probably model for you all in the upcoming podcast. So,
and then there's also, once we start making T-shirts, there will be an endless supply of T-shirts.
Yes.
Even yeah t-shirts.
Of course, we will have the yeah and yeah t-shirts.
Yeah.
We'll wear them on the same night. Yes. Yes. Now I'll start saying yes.
Me too. Me too. I'm just wondering if did Daryl go out?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe Kate needs to lock the door.
Okay. Yeah, I guess he didn't give you a signal.
I saw him sneak out with the container for the desk he just put together. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I'm assuming he's gone because it's been a while since he left.
Okay. Yeah. Do you know how to lock the door? You just turn the, yeah, you just, okay. Now Kate probably wants me to shield her so that no one can see her.
Yes. Oh, well,
She's
it doesn't
putting
matter
her
what
hood
I
up.
do.
She's putting her
Just
hood
gonna
up. There's
do the commando
infamous
crawl across
Kate
the floor.
just, woo, she's like a phantom that just walked by.
She should have a cape she could pull up and cover herself with.
Yes, yes. She can use my dragonfly scarf.
Yes.
Just going to do
So-
a check-in with Al. Are you still with us, Al? Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Now, so I think maybe just for a few minutes, Vida, we'll just talk a little bit about change and transition. And as
Yes.
most topics that we pick to talk about on here, we could spend days talking about change and transition. I mean, there's minor life change and transition, and then there's major life changes and transitions
Mhm.
that we go through. And in regards to mental health and well-being, there's a few things I'm just going to suggest to try to embrace as you move through change and transition in your life in order to minimize the impact the negative impact that may have, because it does require an adjustment, all change and transition. So part of, I mean, a change and transition could be the end of a relationship, whether that be an intimate partner relationship or a friendship. It could be that you change jobs, you're no longer working at the place you're used to, and whether that was because you were let go, due to layoffs, or if you made a conscious choice to change careers, even though you may have wanted to change, there can still be sadness that goes along with that. And I think that for a lot of people who experience like positive life change and transitions, I think sometimes people struggle with the sadness that may come along with that as well. And they might, judge themselves as, what's wrong with me? I wanted this job change, or I wanted this relationship to end. But with every change and transition, there's a loss. And that's what we need to allow ourselves some space to grieve a loss. And a huge change and adjustment that a lot of people go through is retirement. That, somebody dedicates majority of their life to working, and then all of a sudden they're not required to do that anymore. That's quite a transition. And I remember hearing about, there was a man who, after he retired, he would still get up every morning, the same time, put on his uniform for work, and go sit at Tim Hortons and have coffee with his friends and all the people that he would have interacted with while he was working. And that was one way that he kind of maintained some normalcy for him during that huge transition. And a big one that just happened a few weeks ago is students graduating from high school. That's a big transition too. And I've talked to students that are like, well, Margaret, how come I'm kind of feeling bummed out? And it's like, well, you had this routine, this predictability and this consistency in your life. And now all of a sudden that's changed and gone and it's not there anymore. And you've worked so hard. I mean, you put 12, 13 years into graduating. That's a long time
Mhm.
for that, 3 seconds that you get to walk across the stage and get your diploma. I'm just looking, I need a bunch of notes, so I don't want to forget any of my notes.
Yeah, I was just thinking of some things I've heard some of my friends say over the years. I don't have my own children, but some of them talk about the empty nest syndrome, or
Yeah.
the kind of when their children move out and or go to university and are no longer at home as often as they used to be. And for some parents, it's something that they begin to look forward to, but at the same time, when it happens, it can create a real void in your life, because a lot of your time is spent doing things for children, and even when they're older, sort of there are routines that you get used to when your children are around.
Mhm.
And once they leave, it creates a gap. And so parents often find a need to, if you're living with the other parent, you have to sort of reestablish your relationship with that person and reconnect and find ways to fill your time that maybe used to be filled with your children, and all kinds of things. So again, sometimes they're changes that are part of life, but they do sometimes cause us to have some pretty strong feelings and emotions about that. And you mentioned changing jobs and or retiring, moving from one where you grew up to somewhere you're not familiar
Mm.
with. Yeah, there's all kinds of changes that happen, and even as you mentioned, good changes can still cause us to have sometimes some sadness, or even some time to grieve that
Yeah.
that change in our life. We just changed our space
I
from
know.
where a 10 sort of was born and or birthed, and now we're in a bigger space because we're growing, and all of us will need to get used to that. And it's exciting, but at the same time, there are things that I'm sure we'll miss about our old
Yeah.
space.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm still transitioning into the new space.
Yes.
Like I
Yeah.
still need to get some of my stuff up on the walls. I do that picture behind me there. It's probably hard to tell on the screen, but that's a picture of my grandmother's hands. I went through a fascination with people's hands, so I was going around taking pictures of people's hands all the time. Once it was feet, and then it was hands, and
Now it's
what are
hands.
these titled 15? I don't know.
Hmm.
Ears, maybe.
Hopefully it'll be things you can show on the podcast.
Yes, it will be
Yes.
consensual.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
It will be consensual for them.
Yes. Yeah. I was just thinking maybe we could have people in hats,
Yes, I thought that.
a new theme.
Well, yes, you'll do superhero t-shirts, and I can do hats.
Yes.
Okay. So a couple of suggestions. I was doing some reading on change and transition and mental health. So a couple of suggestions before we show Al's video and then talk to Al for a little bit. And I don't say these things lightly, because I could take this one. The first thing I'm going to say is to assess your level of control. And we could spend a whole session just talking about control.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that we can't and don't control in the world. It can cause great frustration when we don't accept the lack of control that we have in this life. So being able to be real with yourself and ask yourself, Is this in my control? Is this beyond my control? If you planned a sunny day out, picnic, barbecue, whatever, and it rains and you're sour all day about that, that's got to do with the control issue. You can't control the weather. And there's so much power in acceptance. So much power.
Mhm.
And I mean, some changes we generally don't have control over a lot of change. Health conditions, mental health conditions. Did your phone go dead, Vida?
No, I'm declining a call.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's fancy.
Didn't have that happen before.
No, I thought maybe, because we've had battery things going on in the past. I had battery things tonight. Kate saved the day. Our technical director is packing supplies and she got me connected.
So yes, now we had a new thing, but I declined it, so we're all set.
Okay. So when dealing with change and transition, assess your level of control. Be real about what you can control. Focus on controlling that. You can control what's around you. You control your responses to things, where you put yourself, who you surround yourself with. Thinking, to a degree, we have some control over our thinking, but not absolute control, which is a whole other topic.
Mhm.
So asking yourself, what are the things that I can control? And you can never control another human being. When you try to, generally that falls into an abuse category. So that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned illnesses and so on, and it just popped into my head as you're saying the word change. For women, often, as we age, from the time we're born, we have a change in the way our body works and its purpose. And we have puberty, and then we go through a period of time. And I remember when I was young, they used to call menopause the change.
Oh, yeah.
And for a lot of women, it for something that all women, for the most part, go through naturally, it had a lot of mystery. So sometimes when you are anticipating a change, like menopause, the more you can learn about that change and educate yourself and talk to other people who maybe have had the experience of going through that part of life, can help when that does happen for you. And the same as any other, illnesses, or, even just, I have arthritis. And so my physical ability is less than it was before in some ways and better in others. And just, learning again about when you have a medical condition, what changes that might mean for you and what things you may need to use to adapt to those changes, so that things you used to enjoy, maybe you can continue to enjoy, but in a different way. So I think with change, education and learning is an important piece to help us cope with something that is a change for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Practice your self-care. And we talk about
Yes.
self-care a lot on here. Really focus on your self-care during times of transition, change and transition. Do your walks, do your music, your art, your weeping willow tree, whatever works for you. But practicing your self-care during those times is really, really important. So something that can also cause kind of a negative, I guess, impact on our mental health when we're going through change and transition is our thought patterns or our thinking patterns. Sometimes people can be very rigid in their thinking, so it can be very black or white, it can be all or nothing. There's catastrophizing, so that's taking something and, well, if this happened, then this, then this, then this. and that's catastrophizing. And those ways of thinking are not helpful at all.
Mhm.
Things are not either right or wrong. The world is not that dichotomous.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there's
I
so
think,
much, so much.
focusing on the positive. Sometimes it's hard to find the positive, but again, I'm thinking back over the last year and a half, and we were faced with the pandemic and with a virus that we didn't know how to treat or what to do, and there were a lot of changes in what we would do, day to day, changes in where we went to work, or if we didn't go to work, changes about school, changes in how we shop for our groceries. All these things came at us, and a lot of people started to feel really negative about it.
Mhm.
But if you can find something positive, and I heard a lot of people saying, I got to spend more time with my partner than I've ever spent. I got to spend more time with my children. I got to focus on the simpler things in life.
Yeah.
If there's a way to find a positive from some of these negatives, sometimes focusing on that can help, so that you're not being overwhelmed by all the negative
Definitely.
that may come from whatever the change is that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So focusing on your strengths as well, identifying and focusing on your strengths. Sometimes people can focus on, I guess, what we would call weaknesses or areas that need to be worked on, I guess. Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words in that moment. Practicing mindfulness during change, well, practicing mindfulness every day, all day, as much as you can is very helpful. But especially during change and transition, trying to stay anchored in the present as much as you can, and being aware of whether you're projecting into the future or going back in the past, not being, with both feet in the present. And I had somebody say to me recently, if you've got one foot in the past and one foot on the future, you're pissing all over the present.
Yeah. Quite a good visual you get from that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't there a term from mindfulness too that I would radical acceptance?
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes, as much as you would like to, you just kind of have to accept and find a way to move on.
Yes.
And I think I would be someone maybe who would try and resist that a little bit, but sometimes it just makes things easier to say, you know what, I'm going to move on and I have to accept whatever the change is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do a whole session on radical acceptance by then.
Yes.
Because that's a big one. And it's radical.
Yes. It sure is.
Okay, I'm just looking over at my list here. Yeah, 6:30. Oh yes. During times of change and transition, it can be a time where we are redefining ourselves. And what stands out for me is when I got married, I took my partner, my husband's last name, and I remember having to sign my name different now. And it was like, I didn't change, my name changed, but it really, I remember reflecting a lot on how sometimes we define ourselves by these things that aren't us. Like my name is not me. It's,
yeah.
but I mean, when you retire or the empty nest or the change, evaluate and kind of be in a space where we're redefining who we are as well.
Yes.
Because of change. I mean, if you get a health diagnosis, usually there's going to be some serious change happening in your life.
Yeah.
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 and that
I
may
just,
change how you define yourself.
yeah, I just think of, you know, from the minute we're born, you know, you're the son or the daughter or the child of someone. And as you go, you know, through life, you become a toddler, and then you become a preschooler, and you become an elementary student and a junior high and a senior high and a university or a college or a worker of some kind. And then if you choose to, you know, get married, or, you know, we always have a title of some kind, you know, that we refer to ourselves as, not just our name. And, you know, I think of my mom. My mother was a teacher. She was a school principal, and I became a teacher. And a lot of people knew mom. So they would always say to me, "Oh, you're Helen's daughter." And I would say yes. And as mom and I have aged now, you know, and I've kind of got my own identity, it's kind of changed for us, because it's now, "Oh, you're Vida's mother." And, you know, because we, you know, depending on who we're talking to and what role we're playing at that time, you know, things obviously change, and it can change, you know, every day from minute to minute, depending on what you're doing. In the morning when you get up, you're a parent or a partner, and you go to work, you're a, you know, police officer or a therapist. And when you come home, you're, you know, the cook, because you're cooking supper, and then whatever. You know, we're constantly changing. And it, you know, I guess it's just when some of those changes are unexpected or are big enough that we really need to sit back and look at it, and remember to take care of ourselves and be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because change is difficult, whether it's a good change or it's not a good change.
Yeah. There's transition period.
Yeah.
And that was next on my list, was
Oh,
to be patient
jumping
with
ahead
yourself,
again.
be patient, and practice self-compassion.
Yes.
Not hard asking. No, I
No.
shouldn't be bothered by this. What's wrong with me? None of that hard assing. Just acceptance that this, you know, I need to be gentle with myself, because I'm going through a huge adjustment in my life, and I'm not quite sure where everything fits or where I fit yet. And that's part of what you're figuring out. And the last thing, going through, because when we first started this, I mentioned how there can be minor life change. You change the color of your hair. That might not be something that you grieve over. Shaving all of your hair off, that might be something that you grieve. Like, and it depends. It's kind of subjective as well. But being ask for help, ask for support. That's the last suggestion. When you're going through change and transition, especially if it's loss of a loved one or a significant relationship in your life, we really need support and a lot of time, and patience and gentleness with ourselves during those times. But reach out and ask for support from a therapist, a counseling therapist, a friend, a mentor, a colleague that you trust, but know you're not alone, and reach out. Okay, so as we were talking about this towards the end, I was picturing the video that we're going to show now, and it's like a beautiful illustration of change, because every stroke that Al does with his pencil or his, I think he uses pencil. You use pencil now? Okay. Okay. When he uses his mediums, it's constant change. Every little stroke or anything is changing, and it's painful. So we're going to show that. That video is about 9 minutes long, and then we're going to have a little chat about. So just bear with me here. I still need to Make sure I've got my stuff. And you can let me know, Vida, if you can hear this.
Not yet.
Okay.
I can hear it now.
Okay. Oh, hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm off there. I'm not sharing right now, am I?
Nope, just you.
Okay, hold on. Ding, ding, ding. All better? I could hear music. Could you?
No, I can only hear you.
Okay. I wonder why my YouTube just spontaneously has started playing itself.
It is haunted.
Okay. So we'll deal with that. We'll do a computer exercise.
Yes.
Right now, we need to have a chat with Al. Wasn't that an amazing sped up piece of art? Like,
Yes.
the eyes are so beautiful, so beautiful.
Mm.
So Alex, you're with us? Yes. How are you doing today, Al?
Nice day. It's 32 degrees on that. 28 degrees Fahrenheit against warm, but it's good to see nice weather.
And where are you at, Al?
I'm in Fort McMurray, Alberta.
Fort McMurray, yes. Yes, so many Nova Scotians have traveled to Fort McMurray. Yes.
Pretty much the capital of the East Coast.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule, Al, to just, share some words with us. And that's some pretty amazing work you're doing, and uploading those videos to YouTube. How long have you been, I guess, sketching or drawing? I know you do various different types of art, but how long have you been kind of in that?
I probably started around when I was 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what inspired you to get into that?
It was probably my dad and my brother. Well, my brother, he paints as well. When I was younger, my dad worked at the airport. He was an electrician. And my old man, the way he would tell a story is he'd tell you like about a plane or a helicopter that he was working on or something like that. Yeah. But he'd like, no, hold on, you got to see this. So he'd grab a piece of paper. Oh. And I was always amazed by this kid. He could grab a piece of paper and start pencil with a pen. But he could draw like a real quick sketch of like a plane or a helicopter. But I always was amazed at how he could do it fairly accurate and so fast. And as a kid, I always admired that. So I always thought like it's cool because one thing about drawing is you can create your own world. Mm. Like, and that's what really kind of drew me into it. Pun intended, but I mean, it's
good one. I
gravitated towards it, and I used to find like, for me personally too, like I was always kind of like, I didn't mind being by myself, so like sending me to my room was not punishing. I think back to childhood, like 12, 13, when I started really getting into drawing. I remember like getting off the bus all day in school, being around the kids and all that. All I could think of in my head is I can't wait to get home. Go up and sit on the top bunk, turn on. It was a rock station called Kilo 4, and I used to listen to them, which is 100. And on a Friday night, and sit there from like say 9 in the evening till like 2 a.m. and just listening to music. And I had this piece of plywood. They had built something one time years ago. He gave me a piece of plywood. It was just a little desk, and I used to put these in. And I just loved it because I would start it with an empty piece of paper. I always had these, ideas, for drawings and whatnot. And yeah, I just kind of loved it. It was like you're on an adventure. For me, it was always like that. It was like you're always on an adventure. You didn't know where it was going to end up. It was just like meditation.
Yeah.
I think I tell people like human life and stuff. You have problems and you everything's trendy. Sometimes, it's nice to just get off the radar, so to speak, and like get something like art, music, or something like that, because those things take you away from where you are, and it gets you in touch with the spirit that you really are, the energy. And yeah, it's just I've been addicted to it my entire life. And it comes and goes. Sometimes I like, the channel. I don't promote my channel or anything like that, just because I don't want somebody maybe expecting me to do a drawing every day or every second day or month. I don't know when these things are going to come out. They do come out, but I don't know when. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to put this out there. If somebody, comes across it, wants something, kind of zone out about, that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
It just gives them an opportunity to kind of just forget about the world, just watch something.
Yeah, I really like how you said being creative, whether it be art or music, just something creative. How it takes you out of where you're at now. Like it is an escape. It does help us to escape into a different world, as you described it.
Completely, 100%. I think one of the problems that we have today is just that people get. Well, my dad used to have a saying. He used to say, don't get your head clogged up with the world. He said, forget about that stuff, because it's like a log jam, right? If you like, if you have like a group of logs, there was only down a river, and they come to a bend or a little bottleneck, they get bottlenecked up, right? And if you look at life, like all those little logs are your thoughts, the stat in your heads. It's really easy to get overwhelmed by this existence, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
I mean, we're living in an age where if we went back in time, if we jumped into a time machine and we could go back to our grandparents or great grandparents' time, we would be aliens to them. Like, they wouldn't have any idea. They don't know what the internet is. They don't know what, Facebook is, their phones and apps. Back then, it was a life of living off the land, and it was just doing the best you can do with what you got to work with. And today's world, I think, we kind of let the environment around us affect us a little more than it should, because you really can't control the future, you can't control the past. Neither of those really can really change. All we have is now. And, when you look at the world, it's easy to let, overwhelm you. It's really easy to get stressed out. But you can always remember that every single person that you look at, we're all in, there's no saying, we're all in this together. We really are. I always believe that nobody knows what's really going on. We're just doing the best we can do with what we can work with. And sometimes I think we need to get away from the environment and focus on yourself, focus on your spirit. You're as special as a star in the night sky. Like, I ain't kidding. That's absolutely
It's beautiful. Wow.
You really are. You're one of a kind in the universe. There's no other you. And I think it's kind of special. So
it is
touch
awesome.
with that.
Yeah.
Through music or art or meditation, whatever it is, the world's a beautiful place. There's lots of good in it. And that's fine. But at the same time, you're a beautiful soul yourself. So focus on your own little universe too. Right? And that's what I always like about art. Because art, it's like you're creating your own universe. You create whatever you want. You just let the spirit kind of guide you. Music or art can make you a little bit, or even a meditation. You don't know what you're capable of until you tap into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And would you have any helpful input or suggestions for, let's say, somebody who may watch this video who, might be going through a really difficult time or a challenging time? They may feel overwhelmed. Do you have any words in regards to just trying something?
Well, the thing is that if you look at the situation, and God help some people, there's really that we all do get into pickles in life. We all do get into and small, it's everybody.
Mhm.
But the thing is that if you're in a situation, you know, you got to look at it from also the perspective of, yes, I could lose complete control right now. I have the potential to. There's all kinds of reasons that I could. But then ask yourself, what's that going to do for you and the betterment of your own spirit? How is that going to help? It's going to bend. You're going to have like an experience, maybe like 15, 20 minutes of just, venting. But it's not going to really change it. And I think one way you can really alter your reality is to separate yourself. And one of the ways to separate, even if you're not into drawing or meditation or music or anything, that's a Mi'kmaq friend of mine one time years ago. We were good friends, and she told me something I never forgot. She said, whenever you're feeling stressed, you ever feel like, like life's building up on you, take off your shoes and socks and walk barefoot in the grass. And she said, it's impossible. It's impossible to carry all your stress and all your angst and all your anxiety when you're walking barefoot in the grass. And for her, she said, like, they believe like the earth takes away our negative energy and gives us positive energy. Right? It replaces the negative energy with a positive energy. And I have done that in my own personal life several times. And there is something special about our connection to earth. And if you look at nature, every single thing in nature is all about growth. Everything from a flower, like, here's an example. So, I seen a while ago a little, I'm not a real plant person, but I know it was a little flower, but it was going through a crack inside it. And I thought to myself, like, imagine, there you are, that little seed sat underneath that ground, and it knew where the sun was, even though it's sitting in a pitch black, dark environment. It knew instinctively where the sun is, and it moved its way towards the sun. And it came through this concrete, and it came through this little crack. And in life, we can stress and stuff, things bother us. But I think if you allow your spirit to open and allow yourself to be loved, that's the other thing too. We don't allow ourselves to be loved. Like, there's all kinds of love around us. And I believe also that you're never alone as a person, because there's other people who have maybe gone to the other side. They're always concerned, because if you're a parent and you love your child, there's nothing in you that's going to stop you from loving that child. And I don't, we call it death or whatever, but Einstein himself said energy doesn't end, it just changes. And it's true. And I think for people who are going through things that are looking for a way out, listen to your spirit, allow your energy, and be true to it. Sometimes, like, people might want to call like a therapist or whatever, they think, I can't do that because, what do they think of me or whatever. No, it's not about what people are going to think of you, it's what you think of yourself. Do you care about yourself enough? And if you do, don't worry about what the world thinks. And that's the biggest hurdle I think everybody has, is that coming to terms with the fact that you're in the universe on your own, but you're surrounded by love. And I do truly believe you come from love, go back to love, and I'll tell you why. People come too long, I want to say this. When a baby's born, a baby will cry as it goes to bed. It cries if it's hungry, like that sort of thing. Has some bother in it. Like, we come with certain instinctive things that are survival. They're just given to us for survival. I'm talking about a baby who literally just minutes old, fresh from the other side. And the one thing that we're all given, but we really don't need it necessarily for survival, is laughter. You take a baby who's only a few minutes old, tickle its belly or something, and it's going to laugh. Why was it given that instinct to naturally do that? And I personally, I think that's a signature from where we come from. It's love. It's just love. And I think that when you're laughing, it's funny too, but like, when you laugh, create chemicals that they can't reproduce. It lasts in your system for 6 to 8 weeks. It's more stronger than any antibiotic, any type of chemical that, pill you take. And it's natural. And our instinct to laugh, I think, is a signature to every single entity on this planet. See the little animals jumping around in the springtime, really super happy. So everything comes with this energy, positive energy, laughter. That's a signature person yourself to where we come from. And I think we're really effective, I think. And I think in this world, I think sometimes we forget about that. And I think that's why you need to focus on yourself. Because when you do, that's when stuff comes out. Whether it's art, music, or meditation. You know, just follow your own spirit. No question, you know? It wants to love you. Like you're gonna have marriage, yourself, your physical body can't do it. And don't let one side dominate the other. Work together and listen to your heart. And I think you can find yourself opening doors that you didn't know existed.
Yeah, that's some powerful stuff you're talking about now.
It's an interesting observation. I guess I don't know. It's just the way I look at it. This is my experience in life. You know, but it just seems to me to be that way.
Yeah. And we're up past 7 o'clock, so I had a couple of more questions I wanted to ask you. I guess I'll go with one if that's okay. So that amazing work that the video that I showed before you came on. I guess, would you like to share, I guess, what inspired you to do that portrait of anime?
That particular drawing, out of everything I had personally ever driven, with every drew, I would consider that drawing probably to be one of my most important drawings, and it's only because of the background of that drawing. Because when I was about 9 years old, I watched the documentary about anime I watched and how God it was 8, and I always, from the time I ever first heard about anime, I was just always impressed with her solid spirit to try to help me. And I just recognized that. I consider her, and she still is. I have a lot of people I idolize in my life, but she's number one on top of it. Anime actress. She was my first hero that I was on. Wow. And as life went on, and this is the thing with life, the adventure that we're on, is that years later, of course, I came to know, all kinds of people and whatnot. And then people somehow get around that I've done pictures that I draw, that sort of thing. And then the end called, a girl called me one time, and she said, "Al, would you do a portrait of my husband, Ken?" And I said, "Sure." And like, this is two different worlds, okay? So I didn't do the area stuff, but I said, "Sure." And she said his aunt was killed in the United States. And when I heard that, I was, and of course he came on, and I was like, as soon as I heard that, it just was like, well, it's like I was saying to you earlier the other day, it is like chain link fence sometimes in life. You're looking at a chain link fence, and you get that where the chain link fence was closer than, it's, it was that kind of a moment. And I said, was her name Anime Aquash? And she replied to her, "Yeah, you know her?" I was like, "Know her? Oh my God. She's like my hero." And I was, at that time, I was probably late 20s, early 30s when this happened. And so I did the drawing, but I never, and in art, you kind of go in stages. Like music, or like anything. The more you practice, the better you get. And I had a picture in my head when I wanted to do this work. But it didn't turn out the way I wanted. I love the drawing. I'm happy with it, but at the same time, it's the best I could do at the level I was at. And I always kind of felt like I did it justice. I never created what I wanted to. And just this past year, I thought about revisiting that drawing, and I came out And that's the drawing you're seeing now that I created. And that finally was the drawing that I had in my head years ago. But sometimes when you're on these, it's when you're going through these things, sometimes I don't want to say you bite off way too, but sometimes you kind of maybe you think you're a little better than you might be. And so you just got to accept it. It's like, we're all, everything's, you're always where you're supposed to be. But the thing is that I didn't reach it at the time, so I wanted to find that. That's what I finally was able to create what I reached. Saw years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and for me personally, it's just a personal thing. That drawing, but it's just the experience and meeting team, just family. I just never thought in my life I'd ever know anybody in their family because you watch documentaries about people and you think like, well, that's this or that, and you never think in your life you're going to know anybody to that person. Just the separation. But then here I was, people, the family was around me, and I had no idea at the time. It's just never.
Yeah. Well, that's an inspiring story now. And I thank you for taking the time and the effort and energy to record that and then to post these videos, because that takes time. So thank you for taking the time to capture it and then sharing it with others.
It's just like I say, I grew these drawings. It's not something else to sit back and have a cup of tea and a little bit. No, it's not the same.
Well, I think too, I happen to know firsthand that you're also an amazing musician, and I would love for you to come back and join us at a later time and maybe share some of your musical side with us.
Probably do that.
We'll hook you up with a guitar, Al. Okay.
My pleasure.
Well, I think we're going to conclude for now. I still need to do my little loving kindness meditation before we end our session. But thank you so much again, Al.
Oh, thank you for having me on the show. It's a privilege for me.
And we'll talk again very soon.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Vida. Our hour has gone over again.
Yes.
This seems to be something that we do, is we go over our time, and that's okay because this is our show, and
Yeah.
we'll go for 5 hours if we want. I don't think I'd make it that long, but okay. I'll do our loving kindness meditation, and then we'll just have a couple of closing words and go from there. Does that sound okay, Vida?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If I disappear, my battery is low again.
Oh, yes.
So if I do disappear, that's what has happened. Hopefully I won't.
Okay. 10-4.
Okay.
Because my battery might be dead by now if Kate didn't hook me up. Okay. So for the next couple of minutes, just allow yourself to be in this space. You don't need to control your breathing in any way. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, please do so. And if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just find something to fix your stare on. Just put all your stresses and worries up on the shelf for the next couple of minutes. You may notice your breathing starting to slow down. Just allow your breathing just to be natural. Begin to feel any tension you may be holding. Begin to feel that start to drain away from you. Starting with around your eyes and your face, through your neck, your shoulders, and down your arms. Feel any tension drain like a liquid down through your body and out through your toes. Now begin to feel your body fill up with love. Imagine a loving white light entering your feet, traveling up through your body, up to your stomach, to your chest and arms. Feel it almost bursting through your heart, your fingers, and through the crown of your head. When you feel embraced in that love, silently repeat the following words to yourself. May I be free from all harm. May I be safe and protected. May I be free from all suffering. May I be happy. May I be free from all disease and physical pain. May I be healthy and strong. And may I be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. Now turn your thoughts to this last word, the earth with all its living creatures. Continue to feel that love bursting through your body as you silently say, may all beings be free from all harm. May all beings be safe and protected. May all beings be free from all suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from all disease and physical pain. May all beings be healthy and strong. And may all beings be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. Send your love as far out around the world as possible. And just imagine that energy traveling through the earth. Continue to feel that love centered around your heart. Feel yourself in this present moment, in the now. Carry this feeling with you for the rest of your day. When you are ready, you may slowly open your eyes. That's better. Now we can just peace.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you have any final words, closing words with your cool
No.
hair?
I don't think.
No,
No,
you're probably all pieced out now.
I am actually.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, so I guess that concludes our July 14th, 2021. Please like, please subscribe, get in contact with us if you have an idea or you would like to share something. If you have art or music, we're here. So be well, take care of yourself and take care of each other. And we'll see you next Wednesday, 21st. Take care and bye-bye.